Hey everybody, update with the PECRON again. I just wanted to give an update. I apologize. My cat is here. When you bring out your toys, your cat always wants to play too. I ran into something that's I don't know if it's weird or normal. So I just want to put a video up there so PECRON can see it, so you guys can see it, so we can all communicate as a team to figure out the best way to use this technology. The fan's on because I was just using it's kind of heavy, so I'm gonna let it calm down just for a second. If you notice, well here, I'll shut the whole system down and I'll start from scratch, and I think that's the best way to start is from the beginning. Right, Kitty? Okay. Alright, so I'll turn the unit on. This is the LFP, sorry, 2000. These are the EB3000 batteries for those of you who just joined us to see what the heck we're doing. Notice the communication dots or the system tests or whatever, like when you start up your car, it makes the beeping noises. Now notice that this is on, the fans are running. As you can see, they're revving down now. This battery is on, it says it's synced at 75%. Notice that this battery now is not on. So what I did is I've cycled this system about 3 or 4 times. That's anywhere between 24 and 32,000 watt hours, being at 8 kilowatts per cycle. That's a lot. I wish I could cycle them 100,000, but obviously it takes a heck of a long time to burn 100,000 watts. 100,000 watt hours of power is 100 kilowatts. That's a ton of power. So, okay, so we're going to do a test here. I want you to see it in live. This is drawing no load. It's 0. It's 57% on the battery, 306 hours left on the overall calculator for the power meter. So we know that the power meter now works good on all the discharges that we've had for the 3 or 4 discharges. I think it's 3 or 4. It's hard to remember all this stuff. The power meter was spot on. It really worked fine. The batteries discharged with the unit, and I ran this 24/7 since I got it for, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 days now, 5 days, I don't know, I'm losing track of time because I'm turning into a scientist back here, along with my wife right here. This is almost like going back to college here. Okay, so my cat's inspecting it, so she'll check it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys. This is a full system start. Now obviously the batteries were not the same. This one's at 50% according to the light, and this one's at 75. So obviously that's a discrepancy, unless this is at 75 and this is at 74. You don't know because these meters, I'm sorry PECRON, these are terrible. I like these meters. I like percentage meters so you can actually see a visual of what percent you're on. That would be awesome as an upgrade for these batteries. To put a meter on there, people will pay 20 bucks extra for that. I'm sure they would, just to see, hey, I'm at 57%, or here I'm at somewhere between 50 and 74, somewhere in there. I always hated technology like that. The cat's still inspecting it, obviously. Okay, so here my wife calls me Ramblin Bob, so I apologize. I'm gonna turn on a small load. This is a 200 watt MyHeat ceramic heater. It's a little like a personal space heater. Works really good for RVing guys, or van life, or whatever you want to use it for, or the office. It's small. It only draws 200 watts. The actual current draw is actually only 170, because these companies are always terrible at marketing. They always try to spice it up more than it is. So you can see it's 171 watts for that heater. And here, come on up here, Kitty. Okay, well, she's inspecting. So as you see, it's green with 3 lights, and this battery is not turning on at all. And I don't know if it's on in the background like I mentioned in the other videos, or it's off and it's not being recognized at all. But no matter what, whether it's on or not, by the end of this 8K run, it's definitely using 7,000 or 8,000 watt hours. Okay, you gotta go. Thanks, Phoebes. Okay, so I'll kick it up a notch now. I'll put another 400 watts on it, and I'm going to go through stages just so you can see how the batteries react in real time. I know this is going to be a boring video, but for the guys who spent their money, I think this is an important video, to actually see in real time what it does and the reactions of the system in use, without edits, without cuts. So I know my videos are long and boring, Rambling Bob, obviously. So 600 watt draw. So you take 600 and you times it by 6.7. That's approximately 3,600 watt hours, and we have more than 50%. So if you do the math on that, this power meter understands or recognizes that's what's left. So that's a positive thing. So we got past that part, I believe. Being a 7,000 to 7,400 watt hour total actual use from the complete 8K system, this is accurate now. It's accurate. You can get a calculator and do this. I mean, it comes up right under, or just right over half of what I said it would be. So at least that's always been accurate now, ever since you set that hidden menu in the system. So, okay, we're drawing just at 590 watts. One light is on sync green, 25, 50, 75%. Notice this battery's not on. What I'll do is I'll push the button. It accesses the lights, 25, 50, and then as you see with the battery, it turns back off. So I don't know if it's on in the background or if it's actually in standby mode and just letting this power from this battery flow through to the main unit. But like I said, this power meter understands that they're all here. So I have a feeling if these lights weren't even here, we wouldn't even know this. As long as you get your kilowatt hours for what it says, we wouldn't care what the light says, as long as this meter. That's the important one. Okay, so now I'm going to kick it up another notch here. I want to do like 5 stages so you can see in real time what the power draw is and what the reaction to the batteries would be. So now we're drawing about 1100 watts. So now we're getting up to more than 50% of the max load that this thing can handle. This thing can push out 2,000 watts. So this will run just about everything in your house, unless you want high compressors or, you know, big stuff. I can run my circle saw on this. I can run my 1500 watt heater. You can run some big stuff on this little box that weighs 50 pounds. Okay, so you see the light is still green. It shows 75% on the bottom battery. They're synced, or they're not synced. I'm sorry. They're connected. So you got 1100 times 3.7. As you can see, that's just above 3.5 kilowatts. So obviously, you know, this meter understands this is working. It's the battery lights that are weird so far, or maybe that's normal. That's why I did this video. So I'll hit the button to turn this on. Notice it says 25 and 50%, and then it'll turn off. So once again, even with 1100 watt draw, it seems to be, I don't know, using this battery only. I don't know. And this one's waiting until that drops down. I'll push it up another chunk here. We're going to go into 1400, 1350. Let's see what it settles at. 1,350 watts, so 1,350 watts. Notice the fans on the system, it's just blowing like a laptop. There's no pressure. It's not loud. The fuzzy sound that you hear is coming from the heaters and not the machine. The other heater I'm using is I think a 12 or 1500 watt radiated style heater, so they're absolutely quiet other than the beeps when you turn them on and off and select the options. So once again, you're at synced on the green, 25, 50, 75% on the bottom battery. It does nothing when you tap the button. It does nothing when you hold down the button. I thought maybe that was like a reset kind of thing. As you can see, it does nothing. So I'm assuming it's on and running perfect. The meter understands that that's all hooked up and everything, so that's all good. Now I'll go back to the second battery, and I'll hit the button again, and notice it says 25, 50%, or it could be all the way up to 74. That's why I hate these meters. And then notice it went on standby again, or if it's not on standby, at least the lights went on standby. So no change, as you guys can see. So I'll push it up all the way now. That's as much as I'm going to run on the system. Now notice these lights kicked down when I did that. Notice they went to 25, 50, and then they went on standby again. I think I jolted the battery, or I jolted the lights to say, hey, wake up. Or it's just saying, hey, I'm awake. But notice that's flashing now. The fans are kicking on because I'm almost at about probably 85 or 90% rated power for this machine. Now, okay, so notice this one went to red. Okay, so 2 lights, 50%. It's red, which means technically this is not synced to that one or that one. This one's at green light and it's at 3. So maybe now it's going to sync. So while that's doing that, I'll explain my theory, and it's only a theory. I'm not a professional at this. Maybe my cat knows more than I do. When you use a small load, like I ran this, like I said, 3 or 4 complete cycles, that's a ton of power. So I've seen actual real-time tests for myself, not a YouTube video. So when I draw like 130 watts all night long, this actual power that I'm getting out of the complete system, according to this, is literally accurate. There's no problems. Ever since I set that, I've had no problems with this meter. It's just these darn lights. Oh, here, see, now notice this one turned green, and this one turned green, 75% and 50%. Now notice it only did that when I drew a high current. This is 1800 watts, so that's like, what, 1.3 amps or something like that at 110 volts. So, but notice it didn't do that until I started pushing this unit heavy. So this is my theory. This is my working theory so far. When you draw, or when I draw a low current, maybe it uses the energy in this box and one of these other ones, and then one of this goes on standby, and it just kind of fades the power through the system and uses that, and then it'll burn out a full, 8K system, 8,000 watts. Actuals are probably, like I said, about 7,200. Seems to be average, 7,300, somewhere in there. But notice now they're synced. And it's only when I started drawing, as you can see, that's a heavy load for this thing. That's got to be almost 90% of what this thing can do, 85, 90%. Because it maxes out at 2,000. And once you go past 2,000, this sucker will fault and go into overload protection, and you have to restart it by hitting the button again. Or holding this button down just to restart it. So it's a safety thing. Obviously, you don't want this thing starting a fire. But I'll let it run for a few more seconds here. If you do the math once again while we're waiting, it's 1800 times 2, that's 3600 watt hours, which is, if you do the math, it's correct, right? I mean, if 7,400 watt hours is total of the whole machine, or 8,000 according to, the technical watt hours,